What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catapaglia sitting on the couch making some money investing in fractional real estate online, as usual. By the time you see this video, it should be Friday, and so it's going to be time for this week's installment of the 52-week challenge. If you don't know what that is, that's where I share what fractional real estate that I'm buying each week. A bunch of other people are sharing that same info with me, some through DMs, some through comments on YouTube videos, some in the Discord that I have set up for fractional real estate investing discussions in general. We're doing this as sort of a virtual accountability group and a way to make sure that we're not just looking at lots of deals, but never actually pulling the trigger. I find that, what I've done, is what I'm doing is just committing to trying to buy at least one thing every single week, whether that's a $10, it doesn't take very much to be able to do it, right? You can have a very small investment. Like if you're buying pieces of LROs on ground floor, you can do as little as $10. You can do, if you're going to put a little bit more each week, you can go to Lofty or even Mogul has the highest minimum at the moment. I think they might have moved it up to 500. It had been 250, but it looks like maybe they've increased that. I'm not 100% certain on that. But anyway, there's at some level, I think that being able to buy one piece of something each week, or if you commit to each month, I think that's fine too. Depends on how much time you have to do the due diligence in between. So anyway, that's what we're doing. And let me jump into what I bought this week. So I bought two pieces of, two LROs on ground floor. This is again where I'm just going for maximum diversification on their platform. I'm trying to get a little piece of basically every single deal that they're putting out as far as LROs go. Trying to build this number up to somewhere between 150 and 200 before I start putting more in each one. I had a higher number in the past, but they paid some off. So, you've heard me complain about that a bunch if you've watched these videos. If not, that's why I don't have as much on here as I had in the past. But once I'm confident again in the ability to have wide diversification on here, I'll start to add a little bit more. But at the moment, this is working out. This number's been slowly growing. I think it might have been 114 last week. So I don't think I had any payoffs. I think I just added two with no payoffs. Just as a little update, 121 that performed that closed. So 174 total. All of these have paid off. 53 of them were extended, 121 paid off on time. But so far, so good. Still having very good luck with these. I haven't had a single one slip into default. I know not everybody's experience has been the same with that. There's some people that have told me they've had massive defaults in their portfolio. So I think a large part of that is from timing of when they got on the platform. And when I did, I think I got on here at a sort of lucky time after they had made their adjustment for, there was a certain period of time where things got really tough for flippers if they had bought in say, early 2022, late 2021. A lot of their assumptions might have been off. And so I think that timing probably played a big role in that, and probably has for me as well, because the artificial payoff of a bunch of my loans, I think really helped me. Maybe many of these extended ones would have defaulted if they hadn't gotten moved, out of my portfolio. So anyway, it's everything I bought on ground floor. Just two pieces of two LROs. Oh, I'm on the wrong one there. Those are closed. Pieces of these two, right? I don't even know how to say this town in Illinois, and then something in Atlantic City. On Lofty, I only made a single purchase. I bought a couple of tokens in Garden Gate. I went into a little bit more detail last week why this is one that I've started investing in again. I had owned tokens in it in the past, sold those when the price popped pretty well, have bought back in. It's really it's a very steady performer. If you look at, let's see, our, cap rate, but let's see, average yield. And so this is a true trailing 12-month yield. This is yielded 8.12%. We do have a reserve. Some of it's in Bitcoin. I don't, that's not really, doesn't really bother me. It's one that has no debt. So we're getting this yield on a property with zero debt. It's just, and at the moment it's for sale for around $25 per token. I think that $50 is probably paying more than it's currently worth in real life, but at 25, I think we're getting a real discount to the real world value. I don't know, doing a little bit of math. I think somewhere around $40 per token might make more sense for the relative to what it's worth in real life. Not certain that that's the case, but I think that at $25, it's pretty exciting. If I had the opportunity to invest in this, not on the Lofty platform, to invest in this deal somewhere else at this valuation, I would back up the truck and buy a ton of it. But most of my hesitation right now comes from the operations on the Lofty side. I think that's where probably 90% of the risk in this deal comes from Lofty at this point. And then some from the other co-owners, because there have been some sort of wacky proposals that have gone out. But I think for the most part, those have been tamed. I think anything that is done with this property moving forward, hopefully will be done with sort of a measured, deliberate process. But anyway, that's why I've been buying into this one. I think I will keep doing it just as I sell other tokens on Lofty and have rent to reinvest. I'm not putting any new money on that platform anytime soon. I had been working to liquidate, but now there's just some deals that are so deeply discounted that I think the risk-adjusted returns are worth it there, right? I think there is very large risk on the platform, but when I have the potential to make 30-40% returns in some cases, depending on the time period and the hold, that for me, that's worth it, right? Or even to just buy into something stable. Like, I don't think I'm going to make that high of a return on this if I hold it long term, but I'm getting a very deep discount plus a strong return that has been stable over time. Okay, so that is it all that I bought on Lofty. And then finally, I bought something on the secondary market on Arrived. They've only had their secondary market going for, this is their first round of experimenting, right? Like, this is not their first week that it's been open, but they've opened it over the past several months where, different groups of properties have been available each time. It has been, the last week that it was open, I wasn't able to get any, and I was starting to think that I misunderstood how the bid and ask was working, but now I think that maybe I was just going a little bit too slow sometimes. But I did just bought 10 shares of this one. These are shares on this site. It's in Morristown, Tennessee, just a single family rental. This is a terrible rent to price ratio. Like, this is not a very exciting deal for a long-term rental in my mind if I had to buy this and use debt today. Now, this is one that is owned free and clear. I bought it for a couple of reasons. One, I put a very small amount of money into it. I only bought 10 shares. Looks like roughly it's a little bit more than a 10% discount to what Arrived thinks it should be valued at. I think it is a little bit of a discount to what I honestly believe it's worth. Without really taking into account like what our selling expenses are going to be. So I still think maybe I paid up a little bit too much for this. Only time will tell, but I really just want to experiment with all of the major platforms. And if I can find, where there is a deal that, it's not like your average mogul deal or something. Oh, before I forget, please like and subscribe. In the description of this video, I have links to all the sites where I currently invest in fractional real estate online, Mogul being one of them. That's what made me remember this. That's one where I compare a lot of the different platforms to them because I think at the moment they're doing the best job out of everybody. Anyway, all those links are there. Feel free to use them, but do your own due diligence on those companies and any properties that you plan to buy on them. Just because I buy some of these doesn't mean that you should, or just because I pass on them doesn't mean that's the right answer for you, right? Like, you want to really dig into the deals yourselves, understand the risks of the platforms because they're all very different, and then the properties and the markets and that. Also, in the description of this video, I have a link to the Discord that I mentioned earlier. please feel free to join that. We talk about all different platforms. And if you see, if you're invested on a platform or thinking about one and you don't see it on the list, feel free to let me know and I will add it, because, anything fractional real estate is open game to discuss there. And then we even have a couple little channels set up for like other real estate and investing discussion as well. Anyway, back to this. Yeah, I think on average, the yield isn't amazing compared to some of those deals that I mentioned on Mogul, but it's pretty good for unlevered. So when I click on the performance and look at the full property timeline, it's been paying out. It had a 4.36% months, but it's been paying out somewhere in the fives most months. And it looks like so. And I went back and looked through the SEC filings, and it looked like they're able to do this and still have a little bit of cash accumulated. So it's not like that they're paying out cash to do this. So I don't know. It's not the best yield. I'm not super excited about that yield, but for an unlevered yield, it's pretty good. And I think I did get a little bit of a discount. But more than anything, I really wanted to make sure I understand, okay, how is this secondary market working? And really just get the full experience on Arrived. I will try to pick up a few more, if possible, tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But if not, in future rounds of their secondary market, because it is only open certain weeks. With the right discount, some of these could really be good deals. And even if not, the risk profile of a completely an all cash purchase, right, where there's no debt. Let me make sure this is actually one of those, right? Yeah, property leverage 0. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I want to make sure, because I had looked at lots of them before I got this one. I want to make sure I wasn't mistaken about that. But it's a decent yield for such low debt. I don't fully grasp how they're actually getting there, with that low rental rate relative to the purchase price. One thing that I'll have to look at when I start to collect dividends is, are they really calculating that yield like a true yield? Because some of the platforms are telling you, oh yeah, you're getting a 6% yield. Well, it's 6% on the purchase price of the property, not on the actual total investment in some of them, right? And so I want to make sure that's not what's happening here. I don't think that it is, but I'll have to go look back once I actually start making a little bit of money on here and see, do the math myself and see how that works. Anyway, that's everything that I bought this week. I want to mention, don't forget, we have Fractional Friday. So if it's Friday morning when you're watching this, and you have, it's not too late, it starts at 10:45 Eastern time. It's kind of a weird start time. 10:45 Eastern time. We're going to have Matt on, who is one of the founders of Saul's Lot. He's got a whole lot of interesting news stuff that I want to ask him about. And then hopefully we'll get that done just in time to jump over to Jerry's live from, Jerry from Lofty. So if you have time to watch either of those, I think it should be some interesting stuff happening. So anyway, that is it for me for today. Until next time, I'm going to keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.